You can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. The 1 in, 1 out, or 50 in, 1 out, as I prefer to call it, deal that Starmer made with the French is in absolute tatters already. I mean, it was only going to create a tiny deterrent. It was just a small little thing that they could do to maybe make a small difference in the number of boat crossings coming. And it hasn't even taken off. Quite literally, the flights have not been able to take off with migrants on them. And we were told that they were going to detain and deport 50 people every single week, and they can't even do that. At the beginning of August, they told us we've detained the first people, this is all going to be up and running this week. They detained a few people, and then we didn't hear anything for a month about anybody being sent back. Yvette Cooper then stood up in Parliament on her first day back after the summer recess and said, we're going to send some people back by the end of September, thinking that sounded impressive, but it really didn't. And then the following day, she U-turned on those comments and said, actually, I'm not sure we will get anyone away by the end of September. Then Shabana Mahmood takes over as Home Secretary, and a lot of people were saying, oh, she's much tougher than Yvette Cooper. She'll really get this deal off the ground. But no, absolutely not. So they were you would have thought if they started detaining people at the beginning of August, and it's been over a month now, that they should have at least 200 people to send back if they are taking over 50 people a week. But no, they had one guy, literally just one man, to send back on the first plane yesterday. Did it take off with him on it? No, it did not, because of course the lefty lawyers and the activists came at the government and the Home Office like wolves to make sure that it did not happen. You had charities and lawyers bombarding Air France. They were putting this guy on a commercial flight with members of the public, calling them and saying, don't you dare put this man on your flight. I mean, it's just an absolute car crash. And then we find out, after the comical news that the first flight didn't take off yesterday, that they tried again today to send one guy. Complete failure again. It did not happen. I mean, we were told that this is the week it's all going to take off, quite literally, the planes, and we would have a flight going every single day to France with migrants on it, and they can't even get one off the ground. I mean, Chris, I'm joined by brilliant Chris Cork here. Chris, give us your thoughts.
First of all, love your sarcasm there. It was brilliant. And secondly, was you expecting it to work? Did anybody have any confidence in this? You know, we've seen the Rwanda. That failed massively. That cost the taxpayers tons and tons of money. But just like legal challenges and protests from charities, you know, who's in charge? Who's got the power here? You know, it's comical. The minute I heard of all this, you know, the flights and they're going to return them, I just literally all I can hear is murmur, just noise. I knew it wasn't going to work. I don't think anybody you'll have a select few who think it might take off and stuff, but it didn't take off, did it? No pun intended.
I mean, is there anything that this government can do, any policy they can pursue that is actually a success?
Miserable. It looks miserable. The whole thing looks miserable. What we're seeing this week, as well as this, it looks miserable. You know, you're seeing all these little, you know, Mandelson, Sadiq Khan. It's just, you look at it as a whole, and like we said before the pod, we started the pod, it feels like everybody's laughing at us. Everyone's got to be looking at the UK and thinking, what? And even France must be laughing at us. And do we get receipts back? Do we kept the receipts to get our money back from France? By the way, you know, it's just
well, no. I mean, we've given them a loads of money, yet the percentage of boats that they stop crossing the channel has actually gone down. So we should get our money back. But the other thing that I was on Mike Graham's show this morning, and a caller left a message for us asking, and I thought this was a very good question. If we don't send our 50 a week back to France, are the French going to stop their 50 a week that are due to be coming our way? Are they going to stop them coming? Or could it be the case that the French actually, they send their 50 a week across to us, but we don't send anybody the other way, and hence our numbers of illegal migrants actually goes up? I mean, what do you think, Chris?
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me either. I mean, it sounds absolutely laughable and comical, though, that we would possibly allow the French to do that to us, but I wouldn't put it past them. Because, I mean, the thing is, these legal challenges, it's all ECHR. It's ECHR Article 8, right to a family life. They say, oh, I've got some cousin called Mohammed in Birmingham or something, and they say, fine, you can stay. But But the thing is, we will just bow down to the ECHR in this country, but the French ignore the ECHR when they say stupid stuff. So it'd be quite interesting if you see we can't send the migrants we want over to France because of ECHR legal challenges, but then the French, if they get told off by the ECHR for trying to send them over to Britain, the French will just put two fingers up to the ECHR and say, nope, sorry, they're going anyway. I mean, you cannot make it up. And we have now got the number of migrants crossing the channel since the 1st of January, since the start of this year, is 40% higher than it was this time last year, is my understanding, right? And they can blame the weather a little bit, but I mean, it's just quite clear that the migrants just think they can get away with whatever they want under Starmer. And I saw that because when I was in Calais before the general election in June last year, I was speaking to migrants who were all saying to me, we are waiting to see if Keir Starmer gets into power before we make our crossing, because we know that he won't possibly send us anywhere. We know he's committed to scrapping the Rwanda deterrent on day one, which he did. And so they've all just flooded across. Let's look at a few more details in this Telegraph article. So the Home Office had planned to return the migrants on a commercial Air France flights from Heathrow to Paris every day this week, but flights on Monday and Tuesday have left without any migrants on board after last-minute legal challenges. I mean, what's quite funny is the Home Office thought, oh, we'll send them on a commercial flight with members of the public because that will save some money. Journalists have bought tickets for those flights and have gone to go on those flights so that they can record it. You're going to have members of the public getting their phones out and recording if they get word that there's an illegal migrant on the flight, and they'll make some storm online. I mean, I guess they thought, oh, we can only send one, so it's not worth sending a whole flight of our own chartered jet. But they should have over 200 people at this point to send back, but they don't. They've got one person to send back. So I mean, that's just really poor judgment from the government on everything. The Telegraph disclosed on Monday that the first migrant to be returned under the deal had been removed from his Air France flight. So it's not completely clear exactly the timeline, but it sounds like he actually got on the plane and then got taken off potentially. And then the French were told actually he'll go out today on Tuesday instead. But now it's been delayed another day. So maybe they'll try again tomorrow, but I don't see how they think it's going to happen tomorrow if they've failed on Monday and Tuesday. And I tell you what, Chris, I reckon Air France are probably thinking, this isn't worth it. They've paid us a bit of money, but our poor staff are having to deal with these bonkers protesters and lawyers hammering our phone lines and sending loads of emails. It's just not worth it. So it'll be interesting to see if Air France continue to go along with it. And get this, plans to file a second migrant on Tuesday were foiled after his lawyers claimed that his experience of being tortured and trafficked should prevent him from being returned to France. Do you think that's a good excuse, Chris?
No. I've heard all the excuses in the book. I'm not. I don't have any of it. I look at it as a whole, and I just think it's just a circus show, innit? Why put them on planes if you don't want to do that and you don't want to upset people? Get a massive ferry, just like a UK person. You can book a ferry. You can go over to Ireland if you want to. You can go back to France. Just put them all on a ferry.
You know what I think they should do is they should have a ferry either anchored in the middle of the channel where Border Force normally pick them all up and take them off the dinghies, or in Dover. And as soon as the dinghy comes across, Border Force, you pick them up, and rather than take them to the shores of Dover, put them on that ferry, and back they go. That is the only deal we should be doing with the French, is let us come in your waters to send our ferry across. Yeah. I mean, it should be straightforward, but you've got a government that just hasn't got the will to do what is necessary.
No backbone, and like reform, leave the ECHR, and I think we do. We need to make our own rules and laws and whatever. But I think that's what infuriates the public when you talk about it and you do discussions and videos on it, and you just think we literally go and pick them up in the channel and bring them back.
We run a taxi service. We make it as easy for them as possible to come.
We pay for it as well. That's where the anger comes from, because we pay for it, and then when you see things like this, you just think, you've put him on the flight, right? It's laughable because you're stopping a plane from taking off. People are on this plane. It's laughable. It's so laughable. It really. And then the excuses, when you come on, you're like, oh, here we go. It's it's just a big circus for me. It really is.
Oh my god, it's such a circus. I mean, sometimes I think that I'm gonna wake up and suddenly realize I was in some sort of bad dream, because I just think, how can they get it so wrong? Any policy this government tries to pursue, it just comes back to bite them in
Just
the ass, and they
fails.
just can't seem to do it. I mean, this should be pretty basic, swapping just 50 migrants out of the thousands that we
Yeah.
often have come across each week. Just swapping 50 of them a week. You're not sending them to Rwanda. You're sending them literally just across the channel to a safe EU country, and you can't even do that. I mean, look at this. Lawyers believe migrants' cases could be challenged through their right to family life under Article 8 of the ECHR. If they have relatives in the UK, challenges could be lodged on the grounds that they have been trafficked or suffer mental ill health. I'm sorry, like, if they've got mental illness, they're going to be suffering from it, whether they are in Britain or they are in France. If you've
Yeah.
got PTSD from being trafficked, I don't see why it makes any difference whether you are in Britain or you are in France. And I'm sorry, but if you've got some cousin in the UK, that is not a valid excuse to
Yeah.
stay here, especially when the Home Office, what they do, Chris, is if somebody comes across here because they want to be united with their family who have already come across at an earlier date, right, who are already on their feet with their own home that they're paying to rent or they've paid to buy, the Home Office doesn't actually allow them to go and stay with their family. The Home Office says you have to stay in the taxpayer-funded hotel. Everybody has to do that, even if you've got somewhere to stay and you could save the taxpayer a few quid. I mean, it's just absolutely
It sums it up, doesn't it? Really, it sums it up. That
bonkers.
for me, it
Yeah,
is bonkers. The whole thing's bonkers.
and we've got now. Trump is, I believe, in the air as we speak. He should be landing soon. Maybe our viewers, when they're watching this, Trump will already be here. Trump is coming, and he's going to be seeing Starmer. It's going to be very interesting to see how Trump speaks to Starmer, how much respect for him. We're hearing rumours that Trump is going to try and go easy on Starmer, because Trump is very much aware that it is an absolute clown show here. But it would be really interesting to see, because I think when Trump first met Starmer, I think Trump had a lot of respect for Starmer. I mean, even Nigel Farage said that Trump really likes Starmer, and I think the reason why is because he genuinely thought that Starmer had actually been a successful guy. He thought, even though we're diametrically opposed on our political opinions, you've managed to beat the Tories. You've got this huge majority, and they came into government with what seemed like a lot of tenacity to get a lot of things done. They were talking the right talk on things like illegal migration, but now that time has gone on, and especially after this week, it's quite clear that the wheels are falling off the bus, and no matter what Keir Starmer says to try and schmooze up Donald Trump, I don't think Donald Trump is going to buy it. I think Donald Trump is going to be thinking, this guy's toast. He could be gone within days or weeks.
Yeah, he's on borrowed time. Sadiq Khan's on borrowed time. I think we're going to see some more viral clips, just like we did last time. I think he's going to drop a bit of sarcasm. He's going to say it as it is, and so he should. So he should. I think there's people, doing marches. They don't want him here and stuff, but I don't understand how people march against someone like him. But you look at our government and who govern us and stuff, and how badly they're doing it. They're doing it. They don't sort of like say anything about them. They're making you poorer. They're making the country poorer. They're making the country an unsafe place to live. But they're more concerned about Trump coming over than this actual government. It doesn't make any sense. It never does make any sense, to be honest. But I can see some good content coming out of this Trump visit. I really can, and I can't wait for it. I just can't wait for him to sit there and just say it as it is, because it needs doing. It really, really does.
Yeah, I know that Trump is he's a very charming man who will, whoever he meets, even if it is a dictator from an awful country like North Korea, he will always be nice and be charming and butter them up, because he's a good negotiator. He knows what he needs to do. But I would just really love to see Donald Trump actually just be honest and just completely roast Keir Starmer, because we know that Keir Starmer will hands down lose in any kind of debate against Donald Trump. I mean, it was quite funny when we had that moment when Starmer first went over to visit Trump, and although it was generally a success and they got on well, you had JD Vance go for Starmer in the Oval Office about free speech, and Keir Starmer just squirmed and was like, we've always had free speech in the UK, and I'm very proud of that. And everyone knew he was lying through his teeth. So, well, I have to hear this guy every day.
I loved how he just waited, and the second he finished it, he was like, "Oh, yeah, free speech all the time." And it's like, we don't. You're basically lying to them. You're lying to everybody.
He's always lying. Well, he's been accused of lying at PMQs last week with regards to Mandelson, and it's just another lie on top of the.
He's on borrowed time. He is. Yeah. It's any time, and I think Sadiq as well. I don't know how they can sustain it. I really don't. You look at the whole thing. You see the news coming out as well, and you just think. You just give in, wouldn't you? You just go, look.
Well, I mean, at this point, both the MPs in Westminster that want him gone and all the journalists are going to be just digging everywhere they can to find dirt to try and get rid of him. So I don't think the headlines are going to stop. But anyway, thank you very much, Chris. That's Chris Cork. No, you can look him up on all your social media platforms. Chris Cork or Corky is what normally Chris Cork 89 or 98 on the
Chris Cork 89. 89. Or Corky. But
yeah, exactly.
Thanks for having me. I love coming on. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you.